to our top 10 countdown for leg 7.
Leg 7. We made it to leg 7,
Woo-hoo!
and we're headed to Europe.
We are in Europe for the first time in our lives. For those of you that know, we are baby travelers. We had never left the country together ever. And so this was really exciting.
How cool is it also to say that like your first time traveling to Europe was in this country, Bulgaria, which is not, the first place you think of when you want to go to Europe.
Right. It's not like super popular.
I think
it's
that's
really
cool.
And we got to self-drive.
Self-drive. Yes, this was, objectively speaking, one of the great episodes of the season. For sure.
A lot happened.
It had everything, right? We had self-driving chaos, right? We had a brand new country, Bulgaria. We had an idiot getting stuck in a ditch. I wonder who that was. We had a team getting very lost. A botched U-turn, maybe.
And there was also elimination.
There was a elimination.
How could you forget?
Oh my gosh, a tragic elimination. This episode had it all.
It had it all.
If you're not watching The Amazing Race right now, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with your life? You need to be watching The Amazing Race season 37. It's fire. I told you multiple times. Okay, tune in. Stop playing. You're playing yourself if you're not watching. Okay. Well, anyways, it's the Two Tired Parents Amazing Race podcast. Welcome. Come on in. Get comfortable. How about we get into the show? Huh?
Yeah. Let's start with our number 10.
Number 10.
Sleepless in Istanbul.
Istanbul. Yes.
How do our neighbors say it?
Our Turkish neighbors have said that it's pronounced Istanbul, not Istanbul. They say Istanbul.
It's all like...
Yeah.
We flew from Dubai to Bulgaria, but we had a layover.
In Istanbul. This is Turkey.
Right. And we got there in the evening, and our flight from Turkey to Bulgaria, to Sofia, Bulgaria, didn't leave until the wee hours in the morning, which meant we were having a sleepover.
We had a sleepover
in
the airport. A very uncomfortable sleepover in the airport,
Extremely
actually.
Uncomfortable.
Whew.
And you know what's really funny? We have these really nice blankets on the airplane. Oh, by the way, we flew Emirates, which was such a treat.
Oh, Emirates. Oh, my gosh.
Whoa.
This was high-end flying. Woo! We flew in style.
The food was amazing.
Incredible food. The stewardesses in their outfits. So sick, those outfits.
I felt like $1 million.
Yes, you feel like you're in first class anywhere you sit in the plane.
It was just amazing.
Was that the flight where once we're seated, the flight attendants go to the aisle and they spray that little spray?
Yes.
I was like, what is this they're spraying? And then it just...
By the way, do they always do that? Or the racers just smell? Were we just like stinky?
I don't know. Anyways, I thought it was a really...
Do you remember the stars in the ceiling of the plane?
Yes, like the Phantom, the Rolls-Royce Phantom. It was incredible.
Yeah, and they had these, blankets and pillows. And as we were leaving the airplane...
Service.
I saw many racers take these blankets with them, and I was like, "Why didn't I?"
They were
why
nice
we're
blankets.
sleeping in the airport. We should have taken a blanket.
These were nice blankets. So some of the racers just took them off the plane.
I know.
Anyways, Istanbul airport. Wow, this was just a high-end airport in general. I feel like the whole experience was very
It was like a city.
It felt like a city. You walked up into a city. There was even a museum in this airport. This airport had a museum, an actual museum. We tried to go to it, but it was closed, unfortunately. But
You're such a nerd, by the way. Everywhere we go, Jonathan wants to go to the museums and read all the signage and learn it. Yeah.
Anyways, a major airport. This is Istanbul, right? It's sort of like the gateway between the east and the west. So this is apparently a major hub of international travel.
And it's beautiful.
And it's a beautiful
huge,
airport.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so we, at some point, found like a flat sofa to lay on.
It's actually curved flat. So it was like kind of weird. It was very an awkward sleeping experience.
And there was a lot of people at this airport. So I think we had to wait
packed
for it to be, free. And then we finally lay down.
Grabbed a spot.
I'll never forget this sleepover because I actually had a terrible nightmare.
Uh-oh. Is that a bad omen?
I don't know.
Might have been a bad omen in retrospect.
Nightmare. I remember waking up terrified.
What was the nature of this?
I don't know, but nightmare? It was evilish. I just remember waking up really scared. And you were sleeping, and there were just people looking at me like, "Why are you? Are you good?"
It was uncomfortable.
It was just not a comfortable sleep. Yeah.
So a nightmare to start the leg, not good. May or may not have been an omen. We'll see. Let's go to number 9. Self-drive. We're going to be driving for the first time on the race. Well, actually the second time, since we drove in leg 1 technically to the airport.
Right. Yeah.
But this is like you're self-driving in another country.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah,
hold on to your butts.
And there's so many questions. We're going to be driving on the opposite side of the road. How funky is the driving situation going to be? But no,
are they going to give you a stick shift?
Yeah, which they did. Yeah.
Of course, it's the Amazing Race. I mean, come on. Of course,
if you don't know how to drive stick, then
you got to know how to drive stick if you're going on the race.
100%, yes.
Anyways, how are you feeling about this being the first self-drive leg? How are you feeling going into the leg?
I feel like every time I went into a leg, I was nervous, but this particularly because you're driving the car, so you want to take care of the car, and then you're driving stick and the directions, the signs, the language difference, everything.
It's scary.
It's nerve-wracking.
It certainly threw a few teams for a loop, right? And what did I want to say here? Anyways, we're using maps, right? We're navigating with a map. And
thankfully, we had a map.
For the people,
it's a ginormous map.
For the people at home, how did we decide who was driving and who was navigating?
Yeah, you're obviously better with details. Jonathan's just able to kind of zone into a task and do that very well. I multitask and I get so distracted. So we knew you were gonna be on the map.
Also, I just like the idea of seeing a woman drive on the race. I think it's cool. Yeah. We're turning sort of that cliche on its head, and I just like the idea of seing a woman.
Well, I'm a better driver than you.
What?
I'm a better driver than you.
You crazy.
You tailgate all the time. So you guys, we didn't only, I'm moving up a little bit, didn't only get stuck on a ditch. Like we almost went off a cliff.
We didn't know how to reverse.
Yeah. You tried it, I tried it. And that's when we kind of fell behind a little bit.
Yeah.
We get to Negushevo and we have to put these apples onto this little cart.
Right. We were coming up this village road, right?
You hear the loud music.
And then you hear that music strike up and it's
something's
just like
coming.
And I was startled. I was scared. And it wasn't until I saw Bertram and I saw a couple of cameras. I said, okay, I'm good. This is not like The Wicker Man or Midsummer. I'm not going to die. I'm actually just I'm just in this TV show right now.
You're not about to be sacrificed.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be sacrificed in Bulgaria.
Y'all can have them. When we got home after the race, I actually looked it up and I saw a documentary on this.
Yeah.
So obviously this tradition has been going on for hundreds of years, but that is a way, the higher you jump and the higher you shake is to essentially shake evil spirits away. And it's like a coming of age event for little boys where once you get to a certain age, you get to wear this costume and you get to partake in it, which is really cool.
So they're warding off evil spirits.
Right.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. But I could tell the music was bothering. It was like,
it was like an oral assault. And you could see I was actually kind of really upset in the moment. It was an assault on your ears. Yeah. But I have to say, I love when The Amazing Race introduces you to these very obscure sort of cultural things, and I think it was really cool to be a part of this.
If you wouldn't had experiences, you would have never heard of this.
No.
Otherwise,
but I love learning about other cultures, and that's really cool. The best part about going on the race is having these sort of experiences.
And I used the reference of that book Where the Wild Things Are. Like this is exactly what I thought about when I saw the different costumes, and it was really cool. It was really cool.
Our heads definitely went to different places. This is how you know we're kind of different. Like you went straight to like this, Where the Wild Things Are. I was like horror movie. This is Wicker Man. This is Midsummer. I'm about to get killed.
You can tell what kind of movies Jonathan watches.
Yeah, I'm a horror guy.
Anyway, and so you guys, so we are supposed to dump these apples onto this, big
blanket,
piece of blanket. Yeah, this blanket. And we're also supposed to put the crates on the blanket. Well, I didn't read this part of the clue, so I just dumped the apples and we're like jumping and dancing. We're trying to mimic the dances are doing. We're there for like a solid 2-3 minutes.
Looking like fools,
and I'm like, where is my clue? Hey, where's my clue? You got my clue?
The thing about the race is you don't get any hints. No one will give you any indication that you are off the track. You just have to figure out
it's your race. You need to figure it out.
So they'll just stare at you and you will have to figure out what you did wrong. So we reread our additional information paper and it said you have to put the crate onto the blanket. The wooden crates
have to also be on the blanket.
After we did that,
then
he goes and gives the clue. So it's like, okay.
I know. A couple of the producers told us later, they were like, that was so funny. And I'm like, yeah. So they laughed at us hard.
Anyways, I think that's good for this section. Anything else?
No, that was it. So then we run back to our car and again, we didn't know how to reverse. So that's when you see us
almost go down that declivity there and wipe out. But
so,
luckily we didn't.
Even worse day. Yeah.
Yes. So anyways, we get to that little library, that cute little library. And what is it? Osowica?
Osowica.
Right.
Yes.
This adorable little library.
Names of all these towns,
these are quaint little villages, like very much like a fairy tale. You see, whoa, no wonder this is where fairy tales came from. It's like
100%.
It was like being in a fairy tale this whole leg.
So we have to look for this clue. And it's funny because I'm watching the episode and I'm like, what was I thinking going to the very back and starting at the bottom? Like, I'm just overthinking it. I'm like doing things the harder way. You found it like right away.
Yeah, we found it. And it was the detour decision, right? Haystack or wood stack.
Right. Oh, another thing, because we didn't know how to reverse, we parked like on the side of the library because I couldn't turn.
A very tight road, right?
I had to narrow road. We had to go around that.
You couldn't just do that. Again, no 3-point turns when you don't know how to reverse. So we went around the entire library just to get out of that place. And this was not the most efficient way to make it. And
considering all this, we made it to the detour first, which is really shocking.
And I just want to, so again, made it there first. How did we decide haystack or wood stack? Obviously, going back to like 3, because I had, made a terrible decision in choosing Ninja, I went ahead and said, you know what, Anna, you make all the detour decisions from here on out. And
So just like Mark and Brett, like I was trying to figure out what 100 kilos was. And I mean, I should know this. I lived in Mexico. I went to primary school there. And it totally passed me. And I'm like, 100. Oh, it's probably 50. Or what was it? 200 kilos. I was like, it's probably 100 pounds.
So you thought it was half. But it's actually the other way around.
And Jonathan was like, no, that's over 400 pounds. And I was like, oh, snap. Okay, no, we're doing hay.
Hay, okay.
And so we get to... What is the name of this town again?
I think it was Saranci. Yes.
Saranci. And so we get there. And we start seeing the signs as to, that's leading us to where to
And look,
park.
guys, up to this point, everything's going smooth. We're just flying through this leg. Oh, everything's going so great. And then it happened.
Dun, 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 dun. I was looking for a marker. Kind of like the one we saw. I'll show you guys. The one we saw in Negushavo. I was looking. There's like an arrow that says parking arrow. And then like the marker where to park. So we pull forward to where we see parking and there's an arrow. So my brain didn't even think twice. I mean, it's pointing towards the wall. It's either the wall or the next street over. So I'm just like, okay, let's turn.
Yeah.
And we see the car in front of us. Not in front of us, but there's another
further
car
down
parked.
the road.
And like these tires are on the road and like these tires are on the grass. And the grass is so tall, you don't see beyond that.
You don't know. It doesn't. Oh.
So he's like, do I park here? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And you just feel the...
It's like, oh, no.
Like,
disaster.
And just so you guys know, we knew our car was stuck immediately.
Oh, yeah. No. Oh, yeah, because they showed us kind of parking and then just going off to the detour.
What you don't see is that we spent like 10 minutes trying to get this car out. 10 minutes.
Yeah, they just kind of skipped
10,
over.
15 minutes.
We realized we're stuck and we realized right then there, oh my gosh, we are screwed. We figured let's just go do the detour and then we'll deal with this mess later. But right off the bat, here's the issue. Like, they made it seem like I was, like, already wound up just from the needle in the haystack. That wasn't it at all. I was already... It was being stuck in a ditch. I was already, like... So, the spiraling. Yeah. And so, I get to the haystack. I'm already in a bad mood.
I mean, I was able to keep my cool, but we know Jonathan just doesn't...
much better at regulating your, emotions than I am.
Yeah.
And so, but for me, it was like... my race is about to end. So I'm going through this detour thinking as soon as I'm done, no matter what, I'm going home today.
And just so you guys know, the last time we saw a car getting stuck in a ditch,
they went home.
Also happened in Europe and they ended up going home.
So I'm thinking we're going home. So I'm like, I'm in a terrible mood right from the jump. So yeah.
So we get to haystack. This was, my decision to do haystack again was because the wood, it was just too much. And I just truly believe that if you do it correctly and you take your time and you focus, you should be able to find it.
There are different schools of thought when it comes to this sort of decision. So do you do the thing that's just the hustle task, the brute force task, the thing you could finish, or you do that thing where it's really luck based,
right?
And it's a game of patience.
So listen, guys, there was a comment that you made. I mean, one from all the comments you made where you were like, do we just do this where it's luck based, or do we do the wood challenge that is like it has a finite?
Yes, the thing you could finish.
And it was, that is a very logical argument. So you guys didn't see this, but we actually switched detours.
She was so annoyed with me, and rightfully so.
I think it was the whining. I was like, really? You want to do that? You want to carry the... Fine, let's go.
I was complaining so much that she said, okay, just shut up, let's switch.
I gave it. I was just like, you are just doing the most.
And we switched. And so we went to the wood stack, and we were looking at this what is it? I think Holden said it was called like a bowline. Now I was looking at the way the wood was tied up, and I'm frazzled. My car's stuck, and I'm just like, no, I don't have time for this.
It wasn't just carrying the wood. It was the way you have to organize it, and the way you had to make it fit, and then putting the rope around it.
It didn't look as straightforward as
it was more intricate than you thought.
Yes.
So guys, we go to the wood challenge, and he realizes, this is really not the best idea, and then we go back. We had already finished one stack. We got to go back, and then eventually the other team show up. We did switch detours. He had an opportunity to see what that challenge was like, and then we go back to the haystack, and he's still complaining. He is still whining.
I know. I'm sorry
about doing the haystack, and you can see I'm just ignoring him at this point. I'm like, I'm assuming this bracelet is this small. I'm assuming it's weaved into the hay, so I am just being very careful, and I have a process of doing this. I think at some point you grab like a big pile of hay, and I was like, I'd rather you sit out. I need to take care of this.
She wasn't happy with my technique. I wasn't happy with hers. We both had two different approaches to this challenge.
Yeah, but who found it?
Hey, you found it. I have no issue giving you. You're a strong teammate. Absolutely, you found it. You killed it. So you did it exactly right. Yeah,
I just zoned you out.
You zoned me out, but I feel like this is like something that really obviously triggers a lot of people. Just having a guy just constantly just kind of scolding you and criticizing you, and I think it reads differently for people that are not familiar with this
with our dynamic. We have these conversations where Jonathan will blur out something logical and true, and I'm like, yes, it's true, but you still can't say that.
Yeah, and I feel like that's
it happens all the time, you guys.
It happens all the time, and I know now that's a characteristic of
it's led to a lot of awkward social interactions where people are like, huh, what did you say?
Yeah, like you're not supposed to say that, and I'll just say like, but it's true. And let's just go ahead and we're gonna try something that you have never seen on any recap. Hey, I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but we're gonna try to do this and keep it light, as light as we can. But we want to show people kind of how my thinking and our communication works and sometimes clashes at times. So anyways, we're going to have sort of a Socratic dialogue, right? Where we talk to each other as if we're at that haystack detour and try to pinpoint like where my thinking goes wrong. Maybe you could help me sort of identify what I'm doing wrong and how I can do it better.
Right.
Okay. So for me, I communicate very bluntly. I just say, you made a bad call.
You made the right, exactly.
So help me understand why that's wrong, because I don't understand why that's wrong, because I feel like, okay, this was not the right detour.
Okay.
How can I say that in a way that is not seen as bullying or berating you?
It's just maybe the word choice would have been different. Like, I'm not sure this is the right detour, as opposed to just putting direct blame.
But then I feel like if I say it that way, you're not going to listen to me. Like, I feel like I have to be like as direct as possible so you understand the urgency of this. So I say, you made a bad call, but you're saying that's not the way to say it.
No.
What's so bad about that? Because even sitting here, I don't quite understand what's so bad about saying you made a bad call if you made a bad call.
Because we're a team. We're supposed to be supportive. So I think I would have heard.
I see. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm not using the right words. A non-neurodivergent person would
by the way, the term is neurotypical.
Oh, neurotypical. My bad.
Okay.
I think because our emotions are linked to our social interactions, I would have actually heard you if you would have said it that way. When you're being too direct and blunt, if anything, it may cause a person to dismiss it or not quite connect with you.
So it really is in the delivery and the word choice.
100%. And remember, later you gave me a very logical argument. You were like, well, the other one has a more finite end. And I'm like, okay, fine. Let's go. Let's go try it.
Switch. We did.
And then we came back.
And that was a problem. I continued to harass you about this. Yeah.
I was literally, we could have still been moving wood. Like, I understand you were frustrated, but it had nothing to do with haystack, and it had nothing to do
with me. It was 100%. Now that I know about what this thing is that I have, it was just the stress was at such a high level because even though we had switched, I was so preoccupied with the fact that we had lost our lead that I wasn't able to focus on anything else.
It was beyond the lead, though. I think you said that, but to me, I think you really thought we were going to go home because our car was stuck and we still didn't have a solution for it. I think it was that. It happens from that event that everything just falls apart. The same thing happened in like 5.
Yeah, and that's an issue that Phil mentioned about the resilience. I fall apart very easily, and obviously we're working on improving that. And I see now that, I have to improve the way I communicate in times of stress.
You guys don't understand. Like, these conversations happen often. When he blurs something out, I'm like, oh, let's try it this way. I don't take it personal because this is the person that a lot of people say that I'm used to it. And in a way I am, but it's because I understand him and I see him at his best and I see him at his worst. And I know that this is not the person we're talking about all the time.
I don't know what I'm going through in my head exactly. I can't really identify what I'm going through in that very moment. But I know my intent is not to hurt you.
I don't think that's the intent of anyone who's neurodivergent. And if you guys are familiar or you know anyone, you understand this. The way they communicate is very different. And none of the people that are around them take it personal because they understand they don't mean to hurt you. They don't mean to be rude.
Even though it is rude.
They're just being honest.
Yes, it's just like we're just blurting out what's
in your mind,
occupying our mind at that moment. It's
100%.
You just have to get it out, and it just comes out in a very ugly way sometimes.
And that's why I don't take it personal, because Jonathan is very respectful and very loving, but you guys don't see that.
You guys don't see that, but that's a problem. So it ends up for you looking really bad, and it is bad.
Yeah.
And there's no excuse for it. I have to figure out how to do these things better.
We were trying to get the car out, and different ideas are running through my head. Like, we go to the trunk and I'm trying to look for, what do you call it to lift the car? The jack. The jack. And I'm like, okay, if we can lift this car up, we can put stuff under the tires and give us a little bit of traction, and then we can get out. There was no jack.
I found a board laying outside somebody's house, and you saw me kind of stick it under that front wheel.
So much for it.
That did not work.
For it being a lot of lumber. We didn't find a lot of lumber around, but we found branches. And as you saw, like the people from next door
came out. Oh, they were so cute.
They were so sweet.
We were completely out of ideas, right? And you saw us sort of like saying, the race is over. Our race is over. Yeah. And the cruelest thing is, just like a couple steps away, the producers are standing there like this. Because I'm kind of looking, I'm like, y'all going to help me out here? Are y'all going to give us a new car? And I'm telling you, all the producers are like this, just literally watching us.
Hilarious.
And a couple of them are even like smiling because they're like, this is good TV.
I would pay to hear what those conversations are being like. Okay, what are you going to do now?
They were enjoying watching us just at our wits' end, trying to figure out.
Okay, and it's crying.
How are we going to get out of this ditch? So, hey, those producers are cold-blooded. Anyways, we realized they're not going to give us any help. We're not going to be helped here. No. So we go.
It's all on us.
I
feel like I'm talking over the different things we do. Okay, we're doing this, we're doing that. What else do we do?
And so I say, let's just go knock on some of these doors. See, I don't even know if anyone's home at the moment because there's not a lot of cars on the road. These houses look like they've been abandoned for years. I don't even know if people actually live here. Or if they're just using this as sort of like a place for us to do these detours.
Right. And so the fellow in the red shirt, we're just talking to him and, we're crying. We're desperate. Poor guy. He's just kind of like, he starts walking with us. He doesn't speak in English. He starts walking with us. And we go to neighbors' houses.
Start knocking on
and we knock on this one door. And these people were obviously in the middle of breakfast. They literally have food in their mouths. One of them's like putting on his shirt and they're walking out.
Yes.
And they just get ready to get their hands dirty and help us.
We tell him, I think the guy tells, he translates for us, right? Our car's stuck.
We need help.
And this family comes out of this house.
It was so sweet, you guys. Like, we got to actually go inside. I wish you guys would have seen like what a Bulgarian home looked like, because we got to actually see it.
Yes.
And I mean, these people were just the kindest. We really owe it to them why we didn't go home that day.
We would not be in this race if it wasn't for these people. I mean, we were marked for elimination that day.
Yes.
But if it wasn't for these wonderful Bulgarian people that helped us that day, man, so they saved our race.
Literally. So. And they were just kind of like, we got it. You just pretty much like, get out of our way. We got you.
They were so nice and they were just so supportive. And
so nice.
They could see that we were like not
desperate.
Doing well emotionally. Right. We were in a bad place. And so it felt like that really did lift our spirits once they helped us and came out.
It's always nice when you just have people extending kindness to you.
There are times on this race when you see the true character of some of these people you're racing with, and we've talked about some of the people on this race. Mark and Brett, these are some of the best people that we have ever met. These guys stopped their race. Again, they're racing
to show you, hold on, that you can be a strong team, strong competitors, and still be kind to others and help them. Yeah.
You don't have to be like cutthroat all of the time when you're running this race. They actually stopped their race, and they're racing for first with Josiah and Alyssa. This wasn't long after Josiah and Alyssa left. They stopped to help us and to try to help us get out of this ditch. And I was just so impressed by the fact that they had actually offered to help us in that moment. And that's when I realized, like, wow, Mark and Brett are just genuinely good people.
They just have good hearts.
Yeah, these are good-hearted people. And
good always.
Big shout out to Mark and Brett. Even though, it didn't work, just the
hearts.
effort that you put in there to help us. And gosh, that meant so much to us.
And that's when I learned how to reverse, you guys, because like Mark showed Han and Holden, he was like, this is how you do it. And I was like, oh, I would have never guessed to squeeze that lever thing. And,
Yeah, so that was very sweet of them to stop and try to help us. Thanks, Mark and Brett.
Yeah, we get to the U-turn board and I was a little shocked that nobody was U-turned. We knew that Carson and Jack hadn't arrived yet. And there were some previous conversations, maybe at the beginning of the leg where, people are like, they are the best team. If there's a U-turn, we should handle it. And honestly, I got to the U-turn and I just felt like after the driver's seat and after like 5, like, I don't know, we had too much dirt on our hands.
Look, so here's the thing.
I didn't feel comfortable U-turning anyone.
The question everyone's going to be wanting for us to answer here is, why didn't we U-turn Carson and Jack?
Knowing that they were lost.
We had a chance here to take out one of the top teams, and we passed. And look, we had every reason to U-turn them after their treachery in Bali. We had every reason. And listen, I was in such a fired up mood because of my car situation. This is before we get our car unstuck, guys. Our car is still stuck at this point.
Right.
So I was feeling so upset that I almost did it. I was this close to U-turning Carson Jack just because I was so frustrated. But my wife here, my better half, stopped me.
Plus, also, I think going into the race, we had talked about the U-turn and how it would be something that we would do if we absolutely had to.
I believe a U-turn should only be used to save your ass in the game.
Yeah. If you're at the very back and there's another team behind you, it should be like a last resort.
It's a last resort. Yeah. And one of the big reasons why, and I think this is something very important that I want people to hear, you don't know these other teams' stories when you come on the show, right? Even though part of me wanted to U-turn Carson and Jack, I really don't know what these guys have been through in their lives, what kind of adversity they've had to overcome to get to. Because I know for us, this was the Amazing Race was very meaningful and important to us, right? It's a show that brought us back together. We had just had a miscarriage with the child. It was more than a game for us. For some teams, it's just a game, and you play the game. Your player's in a game. For us, it had a higher meaning. It had a much deeper meaning. Right. And so I'm not going to U-turn a team when I don't really know like what they've been through in their lives. Like this show has a lot of meaning for people, and we're just trying to see the world and have these wonderful experiences. So why am I going to cut some team's game short when I don't really know what they've been through? I can't in my heart just bring myself to do that just for strategic reasons.
And just to clarify, like even at this point, it is like 7. You still don't know people's story.
You don't know people, yeah.
I actually didn't learn about Nick and Mike's story about their nonprofit and Nick's tragic, surgery that he had because he was assaulted until after the race, you guys.
That's a perfect example. So I don't know that. So unless I'm fighting for my life and I have to do it out of survival. Right. I'm not going to U-turn anybody because I just don't want to be that person that cuts some team's race short because I just felt like I needed a strategic edge on them. I don't know these people's stories again, so I didn't feel comfortable doing that.
It's so interesting. I must have just had like a lot of faith, or I just knew deep in my heart that we were going to be able to get that car unstuck because when you look at that on TV, it's like, okay, your car's stuck and you knew it was stuck. Why didn't you U-turn someone to buy you more time?
Yeah, good point.
Again, I think I mentioned this on the show. Like, we are very resourceful. I think that is one of the abilities that we have. We are able to think outside of the box. And I wasn't worried.
Yeah, I think we both deep down knew we would get unstuck somehow, some way.
And we had such a big lead.
We're very tenacious like that. So eventually we're going to figure out how to get our car out of that ditch. But
we like to live on the edge,
Yeah, that did not factor into our U-turn decision either. So I was very proud of us that we had that restraint. Also, even though Carson and Jack, they were, some of the top competitors in the game, I still felt like we matched up well with them. I mean, they were faster than us on foot. But other than that, I feel like we matched up very well against Carson and Jack. So I didn't feel the need to really take out, my top competitor at that time.
No. We're very confident of our abilities. We didn't feel like any particular team was a team that we couldn't go up against.
Yeah.
I just think that's what it comes down to.
I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. Okay. And look, All these people on the race I like. I like everybody, generally speaking.
Yeah? Oh.
But because, our friend Jack, he spoke in sort of a condescending way about our strategy in leg 4. Remember, we didn't see this on the race. They were very nice on the race to our face. But when I got home, I saw like, oh my God, this guy is like, he's dissing our gameplay.
Remind me. Refresh my memory.
Leg 4, he talks about how, they didn't really play the express pass in a strategic way. And he kind of was like dogging on our strategic gameplay.
He was very critical.
I think he was just downright condescending. Should I not say that? Is that too harsh?
About it.
Anyways, he was very vociferous about about our strategy. So let me just check my boy Jack and humble him a little bit. Okay? Because he made the ultimate strategic blunder on the Amazing Race when in leg 5 he chose to U-turn a team that survived and that stayed in the game.
Go home. Yeah.
And here we were in leg 7 at the U-turn board, and I just want our friends Carson and Jack to know we had the drop on you guys. Okay, if I was a more cutthroat person,
if we would have been
yeah, it would have been
a different scenario.
100%. This episode would have played out very differently, to say the least. Anyways, number 2, guys, this episode was maybe the most pivotal episode in the season up to this point, other than maybe I want to say episode 5.
I feel like every single team in this leg had either a good or bad luck on their side. We see like Josiah and Alyssa just finding that Maritza, like that was amazing,
And not to take anything away from them, they were excellent at what they did. The way they searched through that, they were so efficient. You could very easily
miss the bracelet and go in the wrong pile, and then you have to start over again. So that was amazing. They were so focused, and they had luck on their side.
Yeah, and then you saw some bad luck on the race, right? Carson and Jack getting lost. You saw Nick and Mike getting eliminated.
That's the game.
That's the race, and that's why it was such an incredible episode.
I would say the race is like 80% skill, 20% luck.
I would even go, honestly.
Really?
No, I'm prepared to go 50-50.
Oh.
I think it's 50-50 luck / fate and then skill. I would honestly say 50-50.
Wow.
Knowing how this thing... I can't say that. But I just think luck plays a very big part in how well you do in the race. Yeah. And yes, I'll leave it at that.
So now in retrospect, I think that nightmare I had at the airport was like some spirit telling me,
I think that was
omen.
Yeah,
watch out.
You're going to get some bad luck. And we sure did. And then we had some good luck because, again, the wonderful Bulgarian people saved us.
They
and saved our race.
Saved us.
Shout out to the Bulgarian people.
Yes.
Speaking of, I think we're good with this section, right?
Yeah. Krayat.
Talk about Grandma, because I feel like Grandma really liked you.
Well, it's interesting because, she was talking as I was, they were pouring the milk in, and which, by the way, I'm so proud of myself that I really just took those extra few minutes to get enough milk, because this is funny, I have my bucket of milk and I pour it in and I'm thinking I don't have enough. I don't know why in my brain I thought like I was supposed to fill the glass, but then she puts a stick in and I'm like, oh, okay, whew.
And Grandma says, you're a winner. She says, it's a winner.
And it was so cute.
And I thought that was
I didn't know what it meant until I watched it.
Grandma loved you. I feel like everyone in Bulgaria loved us. We were really feeling the love from this country and from its people.
I know.
Even everybody Simone, the lady at the pit stop, the beautiful young lady at the pit stop, her name was Simone. And she loved us.
She introduced herself to us and she hugged us and she's like, I hope you guys win.
She said, I really want you to win. That's exactly what she said. Yeah, she looked at us. She said,
so sweet.
She said, I really want you to, I don't know what did she say that to everybody? I wonder, just to be nice, or maybe she was just being nice.
Maybe she was just being nice, but it was sweet because it's like she only knows so much about us, and for her to root for us, it was very sweet.
I feel like after the Bulgarians, it helped us in the village, after Grandma, after this, it kind of felt like Bulgaria was just kind of rooting for us.
It felt very homey. Something about Bulgaria was beautiful. Everything about it was so chill.
We felt
so
very
clean.
Happy and at home in Bulgaria.
So besides, our car getting stuck and, hearing all the whining and
the people really did.
It was the people that made us really enjoy this life. We actually had so much fun.
So thank you to the Bulgarians. You guys were so generous.
That is one place that I can't wait to go back and take my daughters and, expose them to such beautiful country and such beautiful people.
And it's nice knowing that when you're on the race, again, we talk a lot about, these signs from the universe and us being on our destined path. This was one of those days, again, you feel like you're on your destined path. Like, how did we get out of this ditch? That's not something we take for granted. No. People have been eliminated in this scenario, but we were saved. And so again, today we felt like we were on our destined path.
We had so many angels, during every leg. I remember their faces and their voices clearly. Yep. And, the Bulgarian people were just so good to us.
And they're sort of like willing us to victory and to continue on this race. And so that was very
uplifting.
Cool.
It was very uplifting.
I just want to mention this because somebody said it pissed off. Why doesn't he ever kiss his wife? Oh. And he's not wearing his wedding ring. And,
I wasn't wearing mine either. I think I lost it.
Guys, we, just so you know.
Interesting.
We are not big on PDA.
We're not.
It's not because I don't love my wife. We're just not a big PDA couple. And
oh my gosh. Do you remember? Okay, guys, this was years ago. I think Naya was like little at the time. We went on like a Valentine's date. Benihana's. Oh, that's all I have to say. Lord. We went to Benihana's for a Valentine's date. Just you and I.
I remember.
Oh my gosh.
There was this couple, Benihana's, right? You're sitting around a table with other people. There was this couple right next to us. It must have been like their very first date because they were just. So. I'm talking about the whole time. They were like this.
And we were literally
like gazing into each other's souls. I'm like, it was almost uncomfortable. I'm like, do you all need to get a room?
Kissing, holding hands the entire
time. They were
holding
hands, like gazing into each other's eyes.
We were like grossed
it was
out,
too
but
much.
It was honestly,
it was really too much.
Up the whole time,
and we were just kind of making fun of them this whole time because that is like the antithesis of us. We are just so not that couple ever.
You guys, not to be mean to any of the racing couples.
No, it's great. It's
Hold
great.
on. Like a lot of the racing couples ran with their hands held, and I remember thinking, you can't run without holding your partner's hand.
Like that's not even. How do you do that?
That's not even comfortable.
We're a very practical couple, and we don't do a lot of PDA. When we're racing, it's a competition, and we're not there to be lovey-dovey. We'll do that when we get back. It's the hotel maybe. But when we're racing, it's like we're in race mode. We don't have time for the lovey-dovey stuff. It's all business.
That's just not who we are.
Not who we are.
For people to put labels on us because of it, it's so ridiculous.
Guys, everything's good here, guys. You're good. I know you're all very concerned. I promise you everything's fine. Okay. I love my wife very much. Yeah. Should we kiss? Should we do a little kissy just to show them? No, that's not in. That's not who we are. No. We'll do it when the camera's off.
I don't like people looking at me while I'm showing affection to you.
This
funny.
episode's running long. We don't want to go longer than an hour.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we're done. Good?
Let's call it. Yes. We'll see you on the next leg. Leg 8.
Leg 8. We're staying in Bulgaria. And this time we're in Sofia proper, right? The city of Sofia. And it's going to be a fun leg. So tune in.
Bye. Awesome. Let's go. We got to head out. It's in 5.